We're Batman at 89.
Hello, and welcome back to Bat Minutes, the podcast where we usually go through the Batman films from 1989 up through and including 1997, 1 minute at a time, except for these last couple of episodes because we're on hiatus, so we're looking at a bunch of Prince movies.
For better or worse.
Yeah, and it doesn't get much worse than this. But I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
I am another one of the hosts, John the Kid Parker.
And we're joined today by one of the staples of the Movies by Minutes community, the legendary Crystal Beth.
Hello, I am Crystal the Angel Beth.
So, hello, Crystal. We're sorry. That's the end of the show. See you all. See you next time, everyone.
Yep. That's pretty much how the movie was, too.
I would say I hope you've seen it so you understand mine and Crystal's reference. But at the same time, I also hope you haven't seen this movie. I wouldn't really wish it upon you. I actually thought it was better than the last one, but that's not saying much.
Nah, I'd say both this... It'll be a bit late now if people are coming in and listening to this who have previously listened to the Under the Cherry Moon episode and watched that beforehand. But I would recommend don't watch Under the Cherry Moon or Graffiti Bridge before you get into these things. So
I just don't... I wish that we could still be friends.
Oh, no. How do we take it back? How do we make it up to you? We'll review anything of your choosing.
I honestly don't know if you can. I don't know if you can. I had to start and I started and stopped this movie 3 times.
Oh.
3 times. And the third time, I was like, I have to leave it on in the background. Anytime the music would stop, I'd start watching it again.
That's when you would start watching it. Oh, my God.
Because I knew that they were just going to be singing and dancing.
yeah.
So that I was like, great, they're going to sing and they're going to dance and it's going to be great. And it'll do just enough to, keep me entertained. And then they would start talking. I was like, oh, good. Maybe there'll be a plot that happens.
Oh, no. No.
But that's the thing. Like, one of the complaints from in our Purple Rain episode from Dale Kingsmill, who really hated that movie, was that it's just she was just like, oh, it's just nothing but songs. But I was like, no, there's plenty of plot in Purple Rain. There's a whole big lot. The songs are great as well. I didn't see what the beef was, but this is just this is borderline Les Mis kind of level, just song,
Yeah. Song, and the lyric. I was trying to see how the lyrics matched up with what was going on, and I was like, I don't think it does. It's the songs were one thing, and then the movie was another.
I don't think Prince ever matches them up. I think he makes an album, a great album, and then goes, why don't I just do a movie instead of a music video?
Yeah.
And this movie is basically a collection of music videos. There's nothing else in between except for things about God.
Yeah, it really is. And I had to look at the Wikipedia to even know that she was an angel. No clue.
Yeah, I didn't get that
she was like Meg Ryan.
Oh, see, I got that right off the bat, where she first time she showed up and it was just oh, she's an angel. I get it. And then at the end when it's sort of established that she was an angel, it's yeah.
Yeah, spoiler alert, everybody. This movie, the sequel to Purple Rain, the actual sequel to Purple Rain, features the kid, Prince, hooking up with an angel from heaven.
Yeah.
That is not a joke.
Who carries around one feather.
Yes, a lone feather, just so you know, just to tip you off a little bit, Do you get it?
Yeah, it was weird that too. Cause that's the first. It's a sign of her coming. It's this floating feather that she has, and it was weird because this is pre-Forrest Gump, and I kept thinking
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I was like, did Forrest Gump get the idea from Graffiti Bridge?
Yeah, that could be Robert Zemeckis'. He just has that under his hat. Of I hope no one ever figures out that I just ripped off that feather bit from Graffiti Bridge.
Nobody will remember that film. Come on.
It's 24 years and finally somebody got it.
One thing I loved about this movie, though, was it was really, really funny.
Oh, yeah.
I wish that they just made it fun, but like, because Prince isn't funny. He's not a humorous dude. And I wish that everyone was as funny as Morris Day. Oh my gosh, he killed me. I thought when he was posing by the Porsche. Oh,
Oh, that was gold. That was pure gold.
So
Everything
funny.
Morris does is hilarious. Like he was good in Purple Rain. I think he's better in this.
Yeah. Oh no, the thing, like, I suppose like we should maybe cover like a little bit of like the groundwork into like the making of the movie, maybe, or like how it got going.
Yeah.
Because it seems there's a bit of like conflicting sources. Like I know me and John were talking the other day, like off mic, and like you mentioned about how you read that this is originally supposed to be like a vehicle for the time, for Morris Day and the time
movie,
and then somehow it became a sequel to Graffiti Bridge or to Purple Rain. But, and then
a sequel to Graffiti Bridge. No.
I would watch that if I knew that it just had Morris Day in it. If it took place now, like this many years later, and it was Where is Morris Day Now? I would watch that in a second.
Well, like from the Morris Day we know in like both Purple Rain and this movie, where's Morris Day now? It's like probably dancing on the kid's grave. Like he's that much of a dick. He would be just reveling in the fact that Prince is dead. Like that version of Morris Day, not the real life version of Morris Day. You understand? But I can imagine that would be the plot line. It's just him celebrating and just going on about, and then just going back to his day-to-day life.
See, I don't think so. I think that if they did a sequel, that it would be that somehow they weren't friends, but they found a mutual understanding of each other as they got older and they aged, and as life got in the way of stuff, and maybe like the tax man came and was trying to overtax everyone, and they all had to band together, so they formed an unlikely friendship that then blossomed into a mediocre friendship, and they're still like sassy and saucy to each other, but they get along better, and then the kid dies and Morris Day inherits his club. He gets the pink slips.
Oh, that would be great.
I thought you were going to say like it goes in that direction of like they still hate each other, but then when the kid dies, it's like Morris is like, I've lost my only worthy adversary. Like he just doesn't know what to do. Like now that
he doesn't realize that they were friends.
Yeah, that'd be like in the Arkham games when like the Joker dies and Batman is really torn up about like this is the closest person I've had to me who's been there since the beginning was the Joker, and it's like now he's dead, and I just don't know what to do, and like that actually would be like, oh damn it, we should be petitioning this, because these movies they don't really need a good script, so we can just throw together any crap and then just go fill that up with songs, and there you go. There's a sequel for you right there.
But that's the difference to Purple Rain. Purple Rain felt like a movie.
Yeah,
it didn't feel like a collection of music videos.
Yeah.
It felt like there was a story. It was quite deep. It was quite dark. It was serious in parts.
I should ask that, Crystal. Like, you've watched this, but did you watch Purple Rain in anticipation, or had you ever seen it?
Oh, sorry. I keep talking over you. I'm being a jerk. I started watching Purple Rain and couldn't. I was like, nope. I will only watch this when I cannot watch both of these.
Oh no, Purple Rain it ends up surprising you. Under the Cherry Moon is legitimately one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. This is better than that in my eyes. This is better because the music's fine in this. It's like it's entertaining. It's okay.
I mean, it's not a bad movie. It's just really disjointed, and I prefer movies that I don't know, a little put together, thought out, rewritten.
with a plot.
Well, the thing is, like, talk about rewritten. Like, again, going back into like pre-production stuff. Because there's a conflicting report of it was originally set up to be a vehicle for the time, but then another site I've read said apparently the work began on this in 1987, and it was just called Graffiti Bridge. And Prince was originally playing a character called Camille Blue. So,
Camille, because he sings as Camille on one of the albums.
So that's about. And then apparently Madonna was supposed to be in it, someone called Ruthie Washington. And
Jesus!
And that character doesn't appear anywhere. And then apparently,
did you read on? Because I was looking at IMDb trivia that they originally wanted Madonna as the part of the angel, but she said no and called the screenplay a piece of crap.
Oh. Says her, though, who's been in some absolutely terrible movies of her own.
That's a real barometer of like how bad it is. Of like Madonna is saying your movie's crap. But apparently that it was she turned it down. It was put on hiatus, and then in 1989 when Prince was hooked up with Kim Basinger, which they met when they was working on Batman, so that ties in to the main body of the show.
Everything's connected.
Apparently, it was rewritten, and it was. They had two characters, one called Angel and one called Aura, which is to be split up between Kim Basinger and Jill Jones, who is in the film, but not as the Angel part. She's the girlfriend at the beginning, and then then they retooled it again, and it was after Kim left, it was all kind of like spewed out into this thing. So at least they did have a couple of drafts at this thing. And still, this is what they turned out. So
that's shocking that there was even one draft. I thought they just kind of made it up on the morning of the recording.
I think like they had a list of songs, and then the rest of it was just written on the back of a matchbox. And they're just like,
yes. Oh my gosh, that's exactly right. That's what it felt like. It felt like every day they just went to the costume area and they were like, "I want to wear this, and let's just see what happens."
Improv, baby.
But like we should say that one notable, I guess you'd say it's an improvement, but is it really? Is that the character of the kid from like within Purple Rain and the character of Christopher Tracy that Prince played in Under the Cherry Moon, they were most notable because they were absolute assholes. They were like borderline unwatchable, just hateful characters. And it seems
I was watching it. I was like, this would not be able to be made. This wouldn't be made today at all. And not just because it's not the best, but also I was like, you can't talk to women like that. At all.
And then the weird thing, it's as if he's finally heard the criticism, because in Graffiti Bridge, the character of the kid has now become this really sort of wet towel, like ultra pacifist, messianic looking, lanky haired sort of drip, who's like so boring that like the entire way through it, like I actually have a note just saying I just don't care about his character anymore. Now that
you don't, do you?
Not because at least in like the other two movies, he angered you so much because he was such a dick that you're like, oh, this guy. But this is just like every time he's on screen, I just gotta check out. I'm like, I don't care about this guy. I don't care what he's doing.
Well, it was a shock.
What he says.
It was a shock to me that happened, because the first scene of this movie is him kind of messing another woman around again.
Yeah,
like he's so into his music and his craft that he's just ignoring her, literally in the bedroom. He's at his computer making music. So I thought, oh, okay, the kid is back, baby. But no, every other scene, he's more likable but more boring.
Yeah. I like that is the kind of it seems as if like his treatment of women is the only thing that's really lasted throughout, because he still is like an asshole.
Yeah, that was something I noticed too, just in between just watching the first 20 minutes of Purple Rain and now. I was like, it's like the executives were like, hey, you're gonna tone down the sexist, rude, mean stuff. And he was like, well, that just makes me a husk of a man. And that is how he did the rest of the movie.
Well, there is a bit in that movie where his girlfriend buys him a guitar that he's always wanted, and the scene ends with him slapping her across the face.
Yeah,
so,
because she's joined Morstay's band, and it's not like conversation. He's just like, "You did what?" Smack, and at that point,
awful.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to recover from that. But but in this one, you still get these little. It's as if like the exec said to him, "You've got to turn it down." He's like, "I'll turn it down, but I'm not getting rid of the sexism. I'm still gonna have it in there.
It's integral."
So like when she's like the girlfriend storming out at the beginning, like giving off stink to him, like, oh man, you're never, blah, blah, blah. And he's still sitting smirking away, like, yep, that's me. And then later on, when he's with the angel, he's like, he keeps offering her an apple and then taking it away, and then offering it and then taking it away, and it's like, oh, he's so playful, and he's like reading her diary or something, which I don't.
That was creepy.
And then, but what's that diary say? Will that diary not be like, I'm an angel and Like
You would think that it wouldn't be written in English, honestly.
Oh.
If she's a celestial, they have a totally different language. At least, in Dungeons and Dragons they do anyway. But also, her handwriting, I can write better calligraphy than that. And I just started. She's an angel. She's had eons to learn how to get better handwriting.
Surely angels only write like in calligraphy style,
well, that's like one thing. Like this is her Earth body, and much like like Third Rock from the Sun, when like they're supposed, I think they're described like they're supposed to be kind of like purple tubes or something. The actual like the Solomon family on their homeworld are just like they don't look like humans. So maybe it's like she's been put in this Earth body, like as an angel, she's like gas or something, and then now she's in there and she can't really. That's why like she's so unemotive and so terrible, is because she doesn't know how to work her face, and she doesn't know
I
how
can follow that, but I've been in my body for 33 years. And I can't move that sexually. So I don't believe that she can't write well because she's sexy as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't fault Prince. He certainly picks the women, to his taste, shall we say.
Again,
yes, he does.
Like this woman is this Ingrid Chavez. And apparently she's just like a known poet and stuff. But she was one of Prince's muses that he used to keep around Paisley Park. So, like, yeah, it is just very much like, oh, he just, like, some woman he had the hots for, and he's like, oh, yeah, she can be in the movie.
Well, I think that speaks to the sexism, because clearly
totally.
in each of these movies, Prince has just gone, yeah, that girl's hot.
Yeah.
Like, that's the extent
thing
of
is,
his
like,
casting.
At least, like, with the other one, so, like, he had, like, Under the Cherry Moon was, like, Kristen Scott Thomas. Like, oh, you got an actress, at least. And then, Apollonia wasn't great, but she was, like, at least she could emote, and she could do stuff. But Ingrid Chavez...
Yeah, I found a review online that says, Prince here acts, writes, and directs as if these skills require no study, but would emanate from his very being on request. And I was like, that's how everyone in this acts. And then it says, the next sentence is, everything about this film appears to be the work of infants, or at least of an adult living in a state of suspended infantilism. Infantilism. Prince's script, such as it is, appears to be a reducto ad absurdum at Purple Rain, as Prince, as the kid, engaged in yet another nightclub feud.
That is perfect. Like that's we should just call this quits now. How can we top that, Niall?
Yeah, we could just edit it down. The podcast is just Crystal saying that, and then just like, right, well, we're done. Let's see everybody.
That's enough. But you brought up Apollonia, Niall. Now, obviously, in real life, I know why she's not in the movie. But in the world of the movie, was I just checked out, or did it never address the fact that she's now not there?
No, don't think it ever did. It was like, I guess, like Temple of Doom has that thing of like, well, it's before. Well, I guess actually, The Last Crusade. Neither of those two films mention Marion Ravenwood when this is a character you've really grown to care about, and is the love interest of your hero in the first movie. And yet,
but that's like a James Bond kind of thing they're going for, isn't it?
Yeah, well, maybe that's what Prince is going for too.
Prince is James Bond.
Except that instead of like traveling the world and doing super cool spy stuff, he just like hangs about this nightclub the entire time and just like
that's awesome.
With terrible hair.
Yeah. Oh, the thing is like,
it is bad hair.
Like as a man who like receded hairline at quite a young age. So usually I'm jealous of like pretty much any hair that I see. But like this was the one I was like, nah. If I had a choice between like bald and bad hair, I'd be like, if that's all I could do with it, I'd opt
hard
out.
Pass, sir. Hard pass.
I think it goes with his like messianic vibe he's going for in this film. But in Purple Rain, he looked so cool.
Yeah.
And even in Cherry Moon, he he looked kind of cool in that.
I think you say like messianic for sure. But the thing that really got to me was that he really reminded me of like late 90s Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Because Prince is a bit Michael Jackson-y, like, not deliberately. I'm sure, like, they obviously were peers. But I don't know how much they interacted. But
I don't think they did very much, And
there's bits of, like, there's a bit of dancing in this where the whole group of them are down on the floor kind of gyrating. And that sounds very general. But it is, I'm certain that it's the exact same dance moves as a bit from the video for The Way You Make Me Feel. And it's like, he looks... I just wondered later on, it's like, it's Michael. Well, to be fair to Michael Jackson, at least he was going through enough of this whole weird face change thing to be like, well, my hair looks a bit like Prince, and I'm wearing the same billowy white clothing and whatnot. That's just coincidence. Look at how my face. I'm clearly not ripping off Prince, but it is very interchangeable. It's like, I've never seen them so like intertwined. It's like, this is like these two men were so alike apparently.
Well, listeners, let us know if it is the same as that video, because we're not going to look it up on the air. That's a terrible way to do a podcast.
But another thing, though, I'll say about Prince's look is that he's rocking this beard.
Oh,
no. But the thing about Prince's beard is like he doesn't... I think that's a spray-on beard. He doesn't look gruff enough to grow an actual beard. He's too...
That's exactly what I thought. It looks like they used a sponge to dab it on before every take.
Yeah. Because he looks way too, like, porcelain facial and, like, it looks like, he's just the most delicately featured, would shatter if you touched him kind of, level of perfection. So the idea of him growing a beard is like, no way. And then when you see the actual thing, it's like, it's way too exact, and it just doesn't look like there's any lift off the face. It doesn't look tough enough. It doesn't look tough enough to be actual stubble, and doesn't have, it looks as if it's literally just, there's no separation from that in the skin. So it's like, it looks like they've sponged on a beard. Because he thought it'd be cool.
It reminded me a lot of, Seneca, what is it? Seneca Crane? Seneca Crane from Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a thin version of his beard because it's so perfectly placed. I was like, oh my gosh, he's from the 1st District. No wonder he's an a-hole.
Oh, that explains everything. You're onto it. You've cracked the code.
The thing is, we're finding out, friggin' Hunger Games ripped off Graffiti Bridge, Forrest Gump ripped it off. We're uncovering a lot of secrets. It's like Hollywood's been secretly mining Graffiti Bridge for years.
Star Wars Episode 9 is going to rip off Graffiti Bridge,
Because one thing I will say is that I'll give it 2 things of credit, and like one I'll mention now, and there's one later on. But I will say for like Prince's second, narrative directorial film, it at least looks different from Under the Cherry Moon. It's as if he's like, I'm broadening my visual palette, and I'm going to do something that looks completely different.
It only looks different because there's more fog. It's blocking everything.
And it's in color. Don't forget that.
That's the thing, because it's so... It's at a lot of, like, canted angles. There's a lot of neon. And it's very bright and garish, but still very dark. And what it really reminded me of was, like, this is kind of like where the Joel Schumacher Batman film
Yes! Oh, my God. I've got that exact note. That's exactly what it made me think of, was of course, Batman.
Yeah, so it makes you wonder, was there a situation when, like, after Batman Returns, when Warner Brothers are like, oh, this Tim Burton guy is making this, like, weird... He's made this weird fetish movie with, like, a deformed penguin man and stuff, and it's way too dark for kids.
With a penguin going on about erogenous zones.
Yeah.
It's poontang is another line.
Yeah. And it's like,
I feel like they just had the release for the fog machine for so long that they were like, well... Every other movie needs to have this much.
But at some point they were talking like, oh, who could take over from Tim Burton? Who knows Batman already? Who was in the first movie that everyone liked? And it's like, oh, that Prince guy made the songs. Everyone liked those, right? I was like, oh, maybe Prince could direct this. I saw that Graffiti Bridge thing he made. Maybe he could direct Batman. And then they went, oh, wait, no. If you're complaining about erogenous zones and mentioning Poontang, Prince is so obsessed with sex. There's no way he would not jam that in. So we better get someone who could make something that looks like Graffiti Bridge, but is
jam that in.
But
should we attempt to actually talk about the plot? I've just realized we haven't mentioned the plot.
In talking about like the similarities to the Schumacher Batmans, because like one of the first scenes seems to me to be a lift from the 1989 Batman, because you get the gangster meeting of Morris Day and the Time, where they've apparently become 1920s gangsters now.
Yeah, it is the same characters from Purple Rain, but they're so successful. Yeah, they've moved into the world of what seems to be crime.
Yeah, apparently it's club owning, but it's like
It doesn't feel like club owning. I'm pretty sure club owners don't meet like this.
Man, it doesn't. It's very like round table mob, just like you said, and it gives off a totally different feeling of what the movie is from the beginning. Because I didn't know anything about it going in whatsoever, and I was like, "What is this mob?" And I was like, "And why are they eating peppers? And what is the? Why is that guy making such funny faces? But I feel like it's really serious."
Yeah, I think I was on board with the style, right? At first, I was like, oh, this seems really interesting. I thought the same about Cherry Moon, though. But I thought, oh, this seems really intriguing. What's this going to be about? And then as soon as they started eating peppers, I was like, okay, I'm more intrigued, but I know this is going downhill.
Yeah.
There's no way this is going to sustain a whole film.
But yeah, the pepper thing in particular though really struck me is because a lot of like even like the kind of angles and the way it's set up is like the first gangster meeting looks very much like the Joker meeting with the gangsters in Tim Burton's Batman, and then as if Prince was like, I really like that bit where he electrocuted the guy to death, but I can't put that in. So what if we have a thing where like one of the gangsters is victimized and he is smoking for some reason? There's smoke emanating from his body. But I'll do something funnier, and it's him eating a really hot pepper. And it's kind of like what the Joker did, but it's not like what the Joker did. It's way, way lamer.
Do you see smoke?
Oh, yeah, there's smoke coming out of his ears and stuff.
Oh, my God. I think I was already checking out. I didn't realize.
I didn't notice there was actually smoke either. See, there's the smoke machine again. They weren't originally going to have peppers. It was going to be like knife roulette. And they were like, nope, we got the smoke machine. What happens when you eat a pepper? You smoke.
Of course. That happens every time I eat one. I'm English. We can't handle spice.
Yeah.
We invaded most of the world to gain access to spices, and then we messed up every way of using them.
Mm. It's like the invention of the English inventing the tikka masala, which is like, we like curry, but it's too spicy, so we're gonna calcium up that thing. Add a load of cream to it.
Basically, yes.
In terms of plot, we are getting this establishing thing as like Morris Day is a big time club owner, and all the clubs are on this one street, and it's kind of like I did like the kind of vision of like. Because everything does seem, it's all basically a set. Like everything, even the graffiti bridge, when you see it, it's very blatantly a set.
Yeah, it's like a music video again, as I said.
Yeah.
Like, everything looks like a music video. It looks like Lady Gaga's bloody, which one does she do that looks all 80s? Marry the Night, is it? I don't know. One of her songs looks like this.
It's like Edge of Glory or something like
Edge
that.
of Glory, that's it. It's Edge of Glory.
But I do like the idea though. Like it is literally like, oh, Morris Day controls this one really flamboyant street in New York, and like if you want like New York in the 80s is just continuing as normal, and then occasionally someone will wander down an alleyway into this street and just wind up in the film of Graffiti Bridge and be like, what the fuck is this?
Trapped
or the
forever.
guy with
you
the
can't
Jeep.
Escape.
I feel like he drove into the world of Graffiti Bridge, the one that ran over the angel.
Oh
He
God,
was like,
I'm
I'm
so
just
sorry.
trying to get to Midtown, man.
I think that was
They
him.
just left it in.
He was just out of sheer panic driving away. He didn't even care that he ran her over. He's just like, I need to get the hell out of here.
You never come back once you step into Graffiti Bridge.
Everyone's dancing in the streets and they have bad hair.
Oh my God, it's amazing. It's like another world. It's like Silent Hill.
Oh, that's terrifying.
But then it's like, where does the plot go from there? It's basically it's established that Morris owns all these clubs and he's like a hard ass and
And he
still...
dresses like Lando Calrissian now, apparently.
Oh yeah. But to be fair, that's pretty awesome. So.
Yeah, it does. The capes.
Yeah, he's rocking those, especially from Solo. With the whole cape scene. Spoiler alert: there's a bit about capes.
It's like someone throwing out their headphones now, like, oh damn it! I've been waiting 3 months to watch that damn movie.
No one has. Oh, that's not true. Yeah, I didn't hate it.
No.
I really liked it.
I'm making a joke. Yeah, I did. I cried.
Oh,
To be honest, I still cry every time it just comes up with the word Star Wars on the screen.
Me too. The Lucasfilm. As soon as that happens, I'm like, oh no.
I know. Oh, I'm in pieces. I'm terrible.
but
I even cry at Star Wars things that I don't particularly like. Like I cry at stuff in the prequels.
The holiday special.
Ooh, maybe that's pushing it a bit. That's pushing it a bit.
I imagine people.
Okay.
I imagine post Carrie Fisher death though, like when her singing at the end of the holiday special, probably will get people like wiping a tear now. Like it's like,
Oh,
it's so
Niall,
sad.
no. I read the Princess Leia Marvel comic, and I was almost crying at that.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, it was great. That was, believe it or not, by the way, in related news, there is a Prince graphic novel.
Oh, what? What?
Did you not know about this? There's a
No.
Prince graphic novel. It's the fictionalized story of Prince, I believe.
I did not know that either. That sounds pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah, I wanted to review it, and then I couldn't find it on Amazon, and I couldn't be bothered looking anywhere else, I'll be honest.
I would really love if you spent like 60 quid to get it delivered, and then you just start reading it, and it's like, opening scene, Morris Day and some gangsters are at a, eating a pepper, sitting on an old Mac, what the hell? This is a goddamn, We'll mention though, because I was talking to Darren, the guy who hosts Prince Track by Track, and he mentioned little tidbits about Prince's computer that you see in this movie, which apparently was an insanely expensive Mac for this is 1990, and apparently one of the things is that Mac is still in Paisley Park, and it still has to be maintained because what Prince did throughout apparently a good chunk of the 90s was that he cataloged all his demos and all this any recording of music he did, and all the stuff is unreleased and all the stuff that is released and all the B-sides and blah, 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 blah. It's all intricately plotted out only on this Macintosh. So
Well, still now.
yeah, and the thing is, like, now that he's dead, like everything in that vault is apparently it's documented in the Mac and nowhere else. So if that Mac dies, then someone's gonna have to go through literally every recording Prince did to have to check what it is again. And you never know, 'cause God knows what way he did it on the actual recording. So you may never find out exactly what this tape was and when it was recorded and all this kind of stuff. So apparently
That's amazing.
that Mac is kept on life support. Like whatever they're doing, they're gonna have to make sure that thing never breaks.
Apple come round personally to help keep it running. I
yeah.
say personally like it's an individual named Apple.
It is an individual named Apple.
Yeah,
It is, right? Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
It's Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin's kid.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I was hoping one of you would say it instead of me.
I didn't even think of that. Oh, my God.
I wonder what age Apple is now. Because I remember hearing about, they're naming their kid Apple. And it feels like that was, a lifetime ago. But I imagine they'll be like, oh, yeah, the kid's, 10 now or
I was
something.
thinking the kid's 30.
Yeah,
my
that's
age.
what I think. It's like, oh, you must be, 45 years old or something now. I'm like, no, it's...
Was it-
I'm Googling it right now. Apple Martin is 14 years old, and she's a little tomboy.
Oh.
Okay.
See, I imagine, though, it's going to be like Zoe Bowie at some point. You're going to get, Apple Martin will become a thing, but she'll probably just have, a normal name. Because, Zoe Bowie just goes by Doug Jones now. Because he's like, oh, what the hell? I don't need
Duncan Jones.
Duncan, sorry, yeah.
Actually, you know what? I retract what I said. She's not a tomboy. She was when she was younger. She's a very pretty little girl now.
Wonder though that she'll eventually come out and be like, no, my name's Jane Martin. It's like, I'm fed up with all this Apple stuff. I've had 14 years of that already. Come on. But
What do we think? Do we think Gwyneth Paltrow uses goop on her stuff, or does she know it's just a big old crock of shit?
Oh.
I enjoyed the fact that you went a little bit more European with your pronunciation there at the end, just to cater to the crowd, I'm assuming.
Well, I know the company I'm with and editing.
You can get away with shit more than shit. I'll be honest. It's more acceptable.
The thing is, we'll have to bleep all of it as well.
Yeah, it's all going to get...
People will be sitting listening going, what did they say? You'll never know. You'll never know. But,
It's a bit like if you're Irish, you can get away with saying feck.
Yeah, feck's just acceptable as a thing. Because people do say feckless, so I guess people could be like, oh, maybe it's tied into that.
No, it's not. But anyway, Prince.
Yeah. But so anyway, the kid is still. I think they do mention Billy Sparks. As Billy Sparks has split up the club between Morris and the kid, and Morris owns everywhere else, but the kid runs this one place. What they call it, the Glam Slam.
Yeah.
And that is basically Morris wants it. And the kid won't give it up. And he keeps coming in and playing all this really spiritual-based pop music. And Morris makes loads of fun of him. And that's basically the movie. That's your drama of the central plot, anyway.
It is like 90% of the film right there. Like Prince defending his religious music against Morris Day.
Yeah. And there's some stuff about an angel who shows up. And that's pretty much all you need to know. There's a weird bit, though, like, showing you the insanely fickle crowds of the club scene of Graffiti Bridge, because when Morris marches in when Prince is performing, and Prince does this whole thing where he kind of mocks him, and he's like, "Oh, ladies and gentlemen, the king has arrived," and all the crowd are booing and jeering Morris and laughing at him and stuff, and they have like a little interaction, and then Morris gets up on stage and starts performing, and the crowd love him. So it's like, what the hell's wrong? What's the matter with these people? Like,
within 2 seconds, they switch.
Yeah. Maybe they just think it's like, this is like all like a wrestling match or something. They're like, oh, we just boo whoever's here, and then we cheer who's ever on stage, and no, it's all in fun.
The steel chair comes out.
Oh, Chris, I wish that steel chair would have come out in this movie at least once.
When I was a kid, I used to play a game where you got to manage a wrestling promotion. And you could edit all the names of the characters, so I would put in celebrities inspired by Celebrity Deathmatch.
Oh.
So it'd be like Britney Spears versus Christina Aguilera in a steel cage. I just wanted to see who was the best pop star of all.
This band, they've got to have been a Celebrity Deathmatch that was Christina versus Britney, right?
I don't remember. I remember Marilyn Manson killed all of NSYNC, I believe. Well, with regards to Prince defending his religious music to Morris Day constantly, is this meant to be a kind of like meta commentary on fans not wanting Prince to make religious music? Because like all the audience walk out as well at the club, and I know obviously some people are like, "No, Prince, we don't want you doing that. We just want you to do sexy stuff."
Yeah, well, I imagine it must have been that. Like, it was weird because I assumed, because I'm not that, well versed in the ins and outs of Prince. So I assumed like, oh, must have been him during his, when he went into becoming a Jehovah's Witness. But apparently no, that was like 10 years later.
Oh, so right. Oh, I thought the same as you.
Yeah. So this is just like,
well, I mean,
no, just
still this maybe the religious music was like planting the seed. Again, I don't know. I as well don't know much about Prince or his music or what's going on, but based off of what you said of what they were doing with the commentary and everything, I think that, or like his commentary on religion, if he should do religious songs or not, I can 100% believe that that's what's going on here.
Mm-hmm. But I think he was like intensely Christian, but like just he went through some stuff in the 90s where like he sort of went into a dark place and he came out of Jehovah's Witness. So, well, assume that this is just general Christianity, not your fancy special Jehovah's Witness stuff for later on.
But still with, the interesting Prince blend of Christian and pure sex.
Yeah.
It's like a Catholic school.
Yes.
That's like the creator of Prince is just like, he's a musical Catholic school. That's how you sum him up in one sentence. There is one bit that I don't know if I liked it or if I just hated it so much I kind of ended up liking it by it coming around the other way again. But Morris then confronts Prince backstage, and he does this bit where he starts reciting the alphabet and walks over to a plant, and then he just goes like LMNO, and then unzips his trousers and goes like P, and like pisses on a plant.
I loved that part because it was so. But that's exactly what I love about Morris Day. That's what his character is. It's awesome.
He really goes all out for it. He comes out with some amazing lines near the start as well. Like, in fact, he says to, I can't remember who he says it to, one of the women, he goes, "Where did you get that ass?"
Yeah, that's the thing.
He says it to the angel.
It is her, I thought so.
Same place you got your manners.
But we mentioned that in like the Purple Rain review as well, is that like you really hated the kid in that because he was a dick, but he wasn't charismatic. But like Morris Day is so kind of flamboyantly, cartoonishly silly that he's doing horrible things. Like he has a bit where he pulls up in front of the club, Jerome takes the coat off some woman and then throws it in a puddle so Morris can walk over it. And instead of being like, oh, what a misogynist dick, you're just like, all right, that's pretty funny. Because he is so flamboyantly, stupidly evil that it's like, I can't really stay mad at this guy. Like, he's too entertaining to watch.
Well, he even gets away with, he literally calls a woman on his arm a bracelet.
Yeah, that's
which
right.
is one of the most offensive things.
I wouldn't mind, though, if John called me a bracelet. Like, it's endearing if someone was to say it so sweetly, which they don't.
No, they don't.
Well, I think that's the angel as well, isn't it? That he's.
I think it's her again. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember thinking like this would be the opportunity for you to paint, who is good and who's bad very clearly, because then the new power generation, or like the few members of them anyway, Prince's band or the kid's band. Sorry, they wander over to the kid to tell him, and you think, but the way they talk about like, oh, you should see. What's happening. The Morris Day's got the girl you're interested in is now hooked up with Morris Day, but instead they say like, you should see what he's got with him. Yeah, and that's like, you mean who he's got with? She's not a thing, And then
oh my God.
He keeps going on about his future wife, and I just kept going into like, just instantly leapt to the room because of course you would.
You're my future wife. I constantly call my girlfriend Lauren my future wife, even though we're not engaged. I mean, we've been together long enough. We should be. But, it just seems appropriate. Future wife.
One thing, though, about this is that something that I really enjoyed was the when Prince brought the angel back to his apartment and kept his hand about an inch away from her boobs, never touched them, but then put his fingers in his mouth like a real creepo.
Oh, it's wrong.
So wrong.
But every interaction between male and female in this is kind of sleazy, no matter who it is, really. Because
even Prince, the guy you're meant to like, he's meant to be sensual and seductive. Like, I mean, it's nice. Don't get me wrong. In a way, I'm sure she enjoyed it. But the way he picks her up when they're about to make love, how do I put this in a PG context? He kneels down in front of her, goes between her thighs, and kind of picks her up with her legs around his face and stands up fully upright. It's a very peculiar thing to do.
But you also have little bits like, I think earlier in the movie as well, was when Jerome's introducing Morris to the angel. And I think his line is, Morris Day would like to eat you. I mean, meet you. And it's just like, oh my God.
I love that part too.
And it's one of those ones that's like, it's so wrong. But all right, to be fair, it was pretty funny.
That's when I started having fun watching the movie, where I was like, oh, this is just silly.
Oh yeah, oh my God. And he comes out with all the funniest lines. I mean, one of my favorites is when he says, you better pray for a strong back because I'm knocking it out tonight, baby. How do you say that to somebody?
It was like John that night just riding out in his arm, coming up to the bedroom.
That's my new move.
I should mention at this point, this is about like 30 minutes into the movie, and they've actually managed to fit 45 songs in so far, which is quite a feat. I'm not talking like 2 seconds, I'm talking 45 full goddamn songs, because it's just relentless, this damn thing. There's one bit where some kid just shows up and starts singing. Apparently, it's
not the kid.
No, not the kid. But you think like, oh yeah, it's going to be the time and, the Prince and the new power generation. Which, be like much like Purple Rain, where it was those two bands. But no, this is like everybody gets a little bit to do. And the kid who shows up apparently is Tevin Campbell, his name is. And some people might know him. Apparently, he went on to voice Powerline in the Goofy movie. So, don't know if that means anything to you.
Oh, that's awesome.
And,
I actually don't know that.
Powerline's the best.
Is Powerline the?
Oh my God! Watch it immediately.
I remember there's a bit where they go to a concert. Is it a Powerline concert to go to, or am I misremembering it entirely?
Exactly what they're trying to get to is the Powerline concert, and that's when they go through all the goofy stuff.
Oh, right, there you go. So apparently Tevin Campbell's a big deal in a Goofy movie. So
Morris Day, he's essentially he's got the angel drunk to take advantage of her, but then his plan seems to be that she'll wake up and fall in love with him because he didn't take advantage of her.
Yeah.
Is that the scheme? Is that his whole plan?
I don't know. I think because he's so incredibly sleazy with her. While like he's got Jerome under the table plying her with drink. He's just trying to get her drunk as he possibly can, and he is very touchy feely. But it's like there is a kind of weird blurriness of like what is he planning to do exactly? Then it's like what he ends up doing is at one point he does attempt to, the lights do go out and he does attempt to do something. So it's like, well, I think he was planning to do, he was flat out planning to do like the big thing you're not supposed to do when, apparently plying a girl with drink and taking her home just specifically to sleep with her. So
this sounds very
No, that's bad. Very bad.
Yeah.
Very bad. It's a very appropriate topic though for the current film industry climate, shall we say?
Yeah. But and then the other thing is though that the song that's playing during that scene is called "Thieves in the Temple," which is one of those like, that's not what you're getting at, is it, Prince? And apparently, no, that is what he's getting at. They are the thieves in her temple. That's what that's what the alluding to. That's what the song is alluding to, apparently.
Oh God.
And then also throwing in a bit of religion because it's Prince. And at this point, he's just like, I want to convey that the song's about, taking advantage of someone, but I want it also to link back to the Bible somehow. So, thieves in the temple. The thing is, though, because Prince, the kid, he slinks in and actually rescues the angel. At this point, though, we actually get to the one scene in the film that I thought was like kind of not. I don't know if you could call it good. It was the one bit that was intentionally funny that actually made me laugh. So
I
that's
don't know if I'd say good though. Come on, you're being generous there.
But yeah, it has the bit of Morris turns out the lights and he's with Angel Lady, whatever you want to call her, and it's supposed to be fondling in the dark, but unbeknownst to him that the kid has already rescued her from him, and he's actually with Jerome. And he has the line, "Oh man, you're not gonna believe it. She's got hairs on her chest." And then there's a sort of moment of realization, and then the best part is like, the lights come on, and then they're both sitting at like opposite ends of the sofa in complete silence, just staring at each other with like really wide eyes and pursed lips, and it sustains that for like 10 seconds, and it's like, all right, that's pretty funny because it's just you don't need them to say anything, you just get the insane feeling of the awkwardness between them. It's like, that's a joke that works. It's actually kind of funny.
I think that's what we can.
They remind me of like little tiny teenage boys.
I think that's what we can say about it, though. It's a joke. And I appreciate the fact there is a joke in the movie because there's very little else happening that I appreciate in any capacity. Although I do love the idea with Prince coming in, sneaking in, and he blows out that candle so it goes pitch black. So that one candle was providing all that light.
Apparently so.
What?
Yeah. The thing particularly too, like this neighborhood is entirely covered in neon, and from top to tail, it would be impossible to not have some form of light leaking in from somewhere, from some nook and cranny.
I'm a big fan of the old blackout curtains.
Oh, God. I probably should buy some, but I'm very much just like, it's fine kind of guy. So I don't have curtains. I just have blinds, and there's a lot of sun comes in from them every goddamn morning.
Do you live in Spain? Yeah. What's going on?
I have blinds too. I use cardboard boxes to block the light out from
Amazing
at night because I haven't had time to go get blinds either.
You weirdly, you see that a lot around where I live. You're not alone.
So funny.
I don't think I'd even go through the effort of doing that though. It's just like, that's fine. Although because I tragically lost my hair in my 20s, and so actually I sleep with a little cap on most nights to keep my head warm. A lot of the time,
that's cute.
I'll just put
that's adorable.
I'll just put that down over my eyes, so I don't need the curtains. I'm fine.
Are you just trying to become Scrooge, though. You want like a little Victorian sleeping hat and whatnot.
Yeah, got a little candle holder and kind of wander out into the hallway at night with that, just sort of looking to see if anything's up.
You use your bedpan every night. You don't go to the toilet.
Yeah, frequently referring to people, dissing them by saying that there's more gravy than of grave of them and stuff like that. But anywho, so that was the one good bit of the movie, and then they even ruined that bit though, because like the sustained silence of the two of them just staring at each other, that's fine, because you get the joke. It's just like these two men have obviously fondled each other, and they're just, but it's the fact that afterwards Morris starts to kind of retch and like goes to throw up, and it's like bit too far. You didn't need to put that in. You could have just had the 10 seconds of silence and then cut to the next scene.
That reminded me of Ace Ventura when there's that very problematic joke now. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, that's funny. And now when I watch it, it makes me really uncomfortable and I have to turn over. It's where he finds out Einhorn was a man. And then he ends up vomiting and everything.
That's not like so much he just vomits. It's like he burns his clothes. He's like suctioning. He puts a plunger to his mouth and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like chewing like 50 packets of bubble gum and stuff. And,
yeah. Maybe Morris should have done that. That would have been quite fun.
Because one thing to be like, oh, well, he's like a heterosexual man, and the idea that he's been tricked into kissing, like maybe he feels violated because he kissed what he assumed was a woman under circumstances. He feels like, oh, I've been violated. A man took advantage of me. But at the same time, it's just like, you don't need to go. That that's not the joke they're going for. It's just like, oh, man kissed a man. Oh, and that's why he has to cry in his shower and stuff. It's like, tone it down a bit, dude.
Ooh, it puts me off that movie.
I mean, we'll get to him eventually, like in 2 movies' time. But like most of Jim Carrey's mid-90s career could just be like, tone it down a bit, dude. Like you don't have to hit that register every single scene,
Hey.
Yep.
But what else actually happens in the film now? So we're kind of hurtling towards an inevitable conclusion.
Well, we get my favorite scene.
Really?
Yeah. I say favorite. I hate it. Right. but Prince is now, he's still wooing the angel. I'm not even going to name her because this movie's so bad, nobody deserves a name.
I think she is named Angel.
Yes.
I think that she's actually, on the IMDb, she's called Angel.
Oh, so. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's Aura, A-U-R-A is what it technically is. But Angel is, I mean, everyone, you can't call her anything else. No. If you were like, also, if you mention Graffiti Bridge, most people won't know then. Oh my God, I just had a tiny seizure. What was the beginning of the sentence I just said?
Something about Graffiti Bridge. But then the whole show's about Graffiti Bridge. So.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. If you're talking about Graffiti Bridge, even that people don't understand. So the angel is like the easiest way to describe it.
Yeah. And then people go, oh, okay. But he's wooing her, and he does something that I found very creepy, because he's playing a little game of hangman with her on a love heart, and he ends up saying mine, and he hands her the.
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. And is he trying to say it's his heart? Because that's not what I got the impression that he's saying. You're mine.
I think
that's creepy.
The character in the movie has already been referred to as a bracelets, and they had like what the new Power generation saying to Prince earlier, like, oh, look what Morris has got with him, rather than look who he's got with him. So, like, him meaning mine as in you are mine is, plus wasn't Under the Cherry Moon. He was like, when he called up Stephen Burkoff to be talking about Kristen Scott Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's mine, and she's always going to be mine, and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, it's got a very weirdly possessive, very, very problematic attitude.
Just a bit.
Say. I do kind of want to see him, though, if he hangs her up in his garage, and then he'll have that Homer Simpson, like, it's the angel, see the angel, it's my angel, no one else is next to the rig.
Oh, that would be beautiful. But she comes back with the best thing to me. The reply is the most sickening but hilarious reply in this, because he goes, mine. And then she goes, no. Looks up into the sky, points to the heavens and says, his. She belongs to the
Gross.
Lord.
I just don't even like that part either. It's just like...
It's so, oh my God, it's the most, this era of Prince line to put in this.
Yeah. But even the whole scene is weird, because right enough, she was out with Morris Day. He plied her with drink, and she was apparently drunk, even though she's the worst actress who's ever lived, so her version of drunk was just sort of being a bit sleepy and then doing a very pronounced fake hiccup, where she literally went kind of like, hiccup, and stuff like that.
Oh, God, it's so bad.
And she got like secreted away in the night. And now she's woke up with the kid just looming over her face. You'd be terrified. What the hell? You wouldn't just be like, oh, this is pretty cool. You would be like, gee, what the hell happened? And like, probably like going, did you do something to me? Like, what? I don't remember a goddamn thing. The whole scene is just, the whole film is weird, to be fair. So.
Yeah, I got the impression we were supposed to think that, the kid, he's a really nice guy. Look, he didn't take advantage of this drunk woman. It's like, well, you shouldn't be anyway. That shouldn't even be on the table.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where he just seemed even more creepy, thinking that literally the first person that she sees, she'll fall in love with. It's like he just, when he said mine, it was like he was testing the spell. And then when it didn't work, he was like, oh, and then he got all quiet, like creepy quiet.
Oh.
And she was like, say something. And he was like, no, the spell didn't work and you don't love me. Ugh.
It is sickening. Everything he does in this movie. Oh.
But we do have the scene after, though, is kind of another one of these just eyebrow arching, what kind of scenes where you have Morris and, a lady comes in and talks to him. We get the return of Dogged. She comes in and accuses Morris of dogging her, which we had a lot in Under the Cherry Moon, constantly referring to people as being dogged.
Every 5 seconds in that movie.
Yeah. And then we had to explain to Crystal, like, as an American woman, what would you think the term dogged means?
Of like poo-pooed. Like if you were dogged, you were denied.
Yeah.
Something.
Because in the UK it means something. It's something very different.
Well, dogging is.
Yeah, the act of dogging is.
What is it?
It's when men go out into the countryside and like hang out in cars and wait for other men to come and then basically sodomize each other while the other one's watching. And it's called...
Oh.
So if you're driving through the countryside, you see a car parked just way out in the middle of a field, it's probably someone dogging. That's kind of
what?
I've never witnessed this.
How does that happen?
Secret hookups, and
Yeah.
I think it's called that because that people would say, "Oh, I'm just going out to walk the dog."
Yeah. So it's
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
But apparently a lot of it's the watching as well. Like, two people will be doing it, but other people just show up to just look at it. And it's like, this is very... I guess because it's usually out in like the English countryside. So I guess you could be like, got nothing else going on out there. This is pre-internet days. You're out in the countryside. What else are you going to do in the afternoon? Just wander out and just like, I'll just...
That's so funny.
Just go sit in the field and just wait for somebody to show up.
Can I just point out that this isn't like an everyday common occurrence? Like this doesn't happen all over the place.
Like, I can promise you, if you ever come to the UK, this is one of the many things you can do. It's easy to track down. Just go to any field and you'll be fine. But after that, then we do get Jerome and Morse get into like a bit of a spat, which is like, oh my God, the dream team is splitting apart.
No.
And they kind of come to verbal blows, and then something very odd happens when they kind of start having like a dick measuring competition by putting money down on the table. So they take out like a wad of cash, and then dueling banjos starts up, and they just keep putting down money. As this is the competition to see who has much money on them at any given minute. This is how you measure who's the best.
I really like that part. I really enjoyed that scene a lot.
That was actually quite funny. Yeah, genuinely.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that rich people just physically carry that much cash on their person at all times.
Mm-hmm.
But it did remind me, like, it feels like it was harkening back to in Purple Rain. They have the... they call it the password is what scene.
Oh God, don't remind me, Niall, please.
Well, there's the whole. I don't know if you watched the whole movie, Crystal, but like there's a kind of Three Stooges-esque sort of bit of Morris and Jerome trying to work out a password, so he'll be able to like tell him whether someone's coming. And so like basically goes into like, so the password is what exactly? The password is exactly? No, the password is what exactly? No, what is the password? Yes, what is the password? No, I'm asking you, what is the password? It goes on and on like that for like 7 minutes. And I have a feeling maybe they have a thing in their contract with Prince. It's like every movie we do, me and Morris, or me and Jerome, we gotta have like a 5-minute skit of us just doing stupid like sub Marx Brothers on their worst day kind of material.
Yeah. I reckon they thought this
Yeah.
is like the funniest improv ever.
Yeah, a part of me was thinking by the time they got to the end of the movie, they just got tired of doing anything, and they were like, just be silly.
It might save it.
I know that they on their stage shows, like the Time stage shows, like because Jerome, I don't think is a full blown musician. He is more of like, he's kind of like Bez in the Happy Mondays. Like he's just there to sort of be like Morris's wingman and stuff on stage. And there are bits of like Morris going like, Jerome, my mirror, and he'll bring up a mirror and like Morris will start fixing his hair live on stage and stuff. So I think that it's them kind of carrying over that shtick into the movies. Whereas it's like, yes, this is Morris and his, his sort of like his Alfred, basically, is like his kind of servant that he has here to his lackey who's just around constantly. So whether the fact though, if Jerome is perceived as like, oh, he's just his right hand man underling.
Yeah.
Why would he ever think he could beat Morris in this taking out a wad of cash fight? Because clearly one of them is the guy who owns all the clubs. Yeah. And you're just his assistant. So that didn't make any sense. But let's not ruin the other comedic beat that they at least tried to achieve successfully.
It was certainly an attempt. Yes.
To me, like, there is another big laugh in the movie, but it's not intentional. But it's coming up pretty soon.
Like most of the things that you find interesting or funny in this movie, not intentional, I imagine. I think Prince thought this was art.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, 100% he did. He was wrong.
Oh, yes. Very wrong. Sorry, Prince, up there looking over this recording. I'm sure you're listening wherever you are.
No.
He's not up there. He's down there for making this piece of garbage movie.
I'll tell you what happens. There's a whole business now. They start up this thing where Morris's gang sort of go into full-on attack mode on the kid, and they challenge him to like a battle. There's going to be some form of the altercation between them where it's going to be a battle of the bands, essentially. And they come in, they trash his place, and they spray paint, what time is it, outside the door and stuff. And it's like, that's what they say in the song, and all that stuff. And then we got, I think, in between the next 15 minutes, we got about 45 songs pop up. And then play in their entirety. Yeah. Because every time you think one's over, nope, there's another one starting right around the corner. And then, I'm trying to think here. Just looking at my notes quickly to see what happens next.
We do find out something quite dark, which doesn't fit half of this movie, because the kid's mum is kind of now suffering from like a mental illness or something from the death of her husband.
So yeah, presumably the dad from Purple Rain has died.
Yeah, even though it made out he was going to survive in the last one.
Although, to be fair, like, this is so tangentially a sequel. It could have been this. They didn't even think when they changed the names of the characters to the kid in Morris Day. They're like, oh, yeah, that's right. This dad was a thing in the other movie. Oh, well.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't think they. I mean, clearly, we talked about how it wasn't technically supposed to be a sequel. It was supposed to follow the time. But it's like, as they started making it the sequel, they didn't even watch the first one again. Yeah. They were just like, did we talk about this? I don't know.
Prince is probably just like, nah, I'll be fine. I remember it all. I know everything about that movie. And he clearly did not.
There's a whole business then as well where the angel is trying to sort of sway Prince into being a bit, like, seeing a redemptive side to Morris. And she does a full-on, like, it's like Luke in Return of the Jedi. Like, it was like, oh, there is good in Morris. I can sense it and all this stuff. As if Morris Day is swaggering around like Darth Vader over here.
I was going to say, well, there's like Star Wars going on here. Oh, that's a good movie. Let's talk about that instead.
Maybe that's it. If Prince watched Return of the Jedi. It's like, that should be the sequel. I'm going to have a whole big bit at the start where they're in a club. And then this at the end, there's a whole big thing about redeeming the bad guy, and there you go, that's your movie. It's just like,
Oh my god, it's got the same structure.
I think we recall in Return of the Jedi, there's songs every 2 seconds as well. So yeah, you got
Of course.
all the not the canteen, the Jabba's Palace guys, and then Yub Nub, and all the 72 songs that are in between those two songs.
I would legitimately go for a Star Wars musical.
Oh, totally.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but don't give them ideas though, because that means they probably will. At least in one of the theme parks or something, they'll be like, "Oh, musical." You say, "Well, but we've turned it into everything else so far."
Yeah, I don't care. I'd be there. I would pay anything. It's Star Wars. I'd pay anything for any Star Wars. Just throw it my way. I don't care. Give me it.
I would like to see like a full-on Hugh Jackman in musical mode playing Darth Vader. That'd be
That would be awesome.
yeah. This is now like actively petitioning. Yes, Disney, do this. This is what the people want. There's one point then the Time perform a sort of diss song to Prince, and then they go outside to find out that he's got a counter song going on in the street. Which
It's like a sing-off. He does like a sexy rap dance sort of a thing.
This is just a whole bunch of this. The crowd is just so fickle because they're just we're so into Morris Day, and then they go outside and say, it's all about the kid now. What? It's like this fucking turn on a dime. These people, Jesus Christ, pick a side, will you?
They're just appreciating the art.
Well, what little art there is. This whole in the counter song too. Prince has, I think he has "Beat Me" written on his face.
Yes.
I think that's what I can make out anyway. As close as I can get in.
Funny. God, this movie is so weird.
Is the "Beat Me" meant to be kind of kinky, or what's he going for with that? I don't really understand.
Was he being sarcastic, saying like, "Try to win" or something like that? Or
that's what I took it to be. Is like, this is his counter argument. So it's just like, hey, it's kind of like Top That and Teen Witch. This is
God, that's great.
The same.
Or maybe it was supposed to be "Beats Me," and they were like, "We don't know what's going on." Beats me.
The makeup artist did it. Like, I don't know what he's telling me to do. Well, also though, putting makeup on is known as beating your face. So,
Really?
Yeah. It might just be with drag queens. I don't know. But, that's what you call your makeup. It's your beat.
Oh, you're right. I forgot that term.
I think John's like he's up to date now because he's beginning his burgeoning career as apparently Sasha Velour's official lookalike.
Apparently, yeah.
Like, I have no real idea who Sasha Velour is, but I know that John looks like her, apparently. So.
Yes, I've been called Sasha Velour like 20 times in the past 2 months.
Sasha Velour is the best ever, and I get chills anytime she does her stuff.
Oh, yes. I saw her live a couple of months ago, and it was amazing. It was so good. She came out dancing to Susie and the Banshees as well, which is perfect.
Oh, God, she's so cool. That was the first season of Drag Race that I watched.
It's the most recent one. Well, other than the one on now, as of recording, it's the other most recent one, isn't it? Yeah. And then on Friday, I was at a show, and they got me on stage, and then someone in the crowd was just shouting, "Sasha Velour."
That's awesome.
Yeah. That just means that like mid returns minutes, one day I'll have to come on and be like, I've had to get a replacement host because John's now officially just gone on tour as like a Sasha Velour tribute act. I was like, he's off in Milan for Christ's sakes. And like, here I am still doing the stupid.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of money in drag tribute acts. Not like you get in podcasting, all the dollars rolling in here.
Well, we sold now like 3 T-shirts as well. Like, this is it.
Yeah,
this
3.
Oh, by the way, in case people don't know, we have T-shirts for sale now.
Yeah, look them up. Or you could get it on a mug or anything.
Yeah, a pillowcase. You want me and John's cartoon visages? They wake up right next to them every morning. You can get it in the pillowcase now.
I mean, it's the only way you'll get me in your bed, but it'll be worth it.
I do know, like, my friend Marion, she has a full body pillow of Jared Butler that she's been hanging on to for like 10 years, and she's a married woman, but this body pillow is still hanging about the house somewhere.
No, please tell me that it's between her and her husband in the bed, like that separates them.
I try not to ask what goes on in their bedroom, to be honest. Although I did hear one time she actually had a dream where it came down to Will Smith was vying for her love, and she chose her husband instead. So it's he's dining out in that for like the past like 5 years. He's just like, I beat Will Smith in her dreams. The thing is, like, I think any other sane person in the world would be like, geez, no, go for Will Smith, are you crazy? But there you go. Their love is pure. I'll give them that.
Oh, that's nice. That's cute.
Yeah.
Unlike the kid's love for anyone.
Except himself.
Oh.
But, somewhere around here we get they decide to introduce the character that Mavis Staples is playing, where she has an entire song introducing her as Melody Cool, which is kind of like, should you not have done this in like the first 10 minutes of the movie? Because she's been knocking around, and we're like, who's that? And then now it's like, here I am, there's 10 minutes of the movie left, I better introduce this character now and give her an entire musical number to explain who she is.
I tell you what, completely unnecessary, but easily one of the best scenes of the film. She's great.
Unfair. This movie would have been infinitely better if they cut out all the stuff with the kid, and it was Mavis Staples versus Morris Day.
Yes.
That would have been a movie.
Oh yeah.
Like, I would happily review that 10 times. But this, unfortunately, by it being written, directed, produced, and starring Prince, he's got to be the main honcho. So, oh well.
Yeah, Mavis Staples rocked it. That was such a good song. It was probably my favorite song in the movie.
Definitely, I would say.
Yeah.
There's not. I mean, some of the songs are fine in this. They're not bad. They're not particularly memorable. But this stands out in my mind completely because she's got so much charisma.
Yeah, she's actually performing.
Yeah.
The only other songs I can remember is, like, was it the Funky Weapon one from the beginning? Because it's the first one you hear. And then obviously I remember Thieves in the Temple, because when you realize, like, oh, that's what it's referring to. They're literally referring to, there are thieves in her temple. Okay. And it's like, it's not even a good song, but it's memorable because it's like, oh, God, come on, Prince. Jesus Christ.
With regards to the Funky Weapon one, I that one stood out to me as well because I watch a lot of wrestling, and there's a Japanese wrestler, Taguchi, and he always hits people with his ass, right? He's like a funny kind of character. And his nickname is the Funky Weapon. And I never knew what that was a reference to. I never thought about it and put it together. That's why he's hitting people with his ass, because he's doing like a Prince thing. Like, well, it's kind of sexy. Like, whoa, it's my funky weapon, my ass.
What do they mean by funky weapon of, like winning, like, sort of alluring people to you? Like, swaying your ass is like, this is my weapon. And
yeah,
I would never assume to go into any situation with my ass as a weapon. I would like if I'm ever in a fight, I'm not gonna be like, all right, I better just swing my hips around here so they get full, ass in the face or something. Although maybe I should, maybe I'd win. I don't know if I've ever been in a fight in my entire life, but if I was, I could theoretically win that fight by just thrusting my ass at people to see what happens.
Well, Niall got back.
But but then there's a whole big kerfuffle here, and then it does lead up to the legitimately one of the funniest bits in the whole movie that's not intentionally funny, when one of Morris's guys gets in a van. Is it a van or a Jeep or something? Trying to speed away, and he runs over the angel. And it's supposed to be this really big, like, oh no, kind of like tragic moment. And I was absolutely keeling over laughing at it because.
Yeah, I was fine.
You weren't too heartbroken with it then?
No, I was like, oh good, she's going to go back. Thank God. Get out of here.
You should have seen her actually ascend into the heavens. That would have been great.
It's one of the indications. It was like, oh, I guess the movie must be over pretty soon if she's dead. So there we go. Oh, thank God she's finally gone. And yeah, everyone in the entire street cares, and even Morris Day has a glimmer of emotion in his face. And then, though, instead of, like, you think, oh, this might be the moment where him and the kid make up, but no, Morris then comes to him with, I have just one question for you. How do you want to die? And then he
Yeah.
swaggers off, and it's like, oh no, the movie's going on for another couple of minutes. And eventually, though, Prince starts singing, much like, maybe if he tried this earlier, because he knows it worked in Purple Rain. He starts singing a song that everyone gets really into. And apparently it's so emotionally engaging, this song, that the people wander out from the club, and the majority of the time come over to his side, and then Morris is sitting by himself for a bit, and then eventually he kind of concedes. They're like, well, all right, okay. And then, they come out and he does the old handshake hug business, and it's like, hey, Morris and the kid are friends now. After this rivalry we've watched over 2 whole movies, to finally come to a very efficient and very just like, we might as well just be all right with this.
That's the vibe I got, right? When it was actually happening, it sort of dawned on me, like, this is the kid winning. But it's the least exciting climax of any film in history.
Yeah.
All it took was the girl that they were both incredibly rude to being hit by a Jeep with a guy that had no clue what was going on or where he even was.
That's all it takes to bring people together.
I'm assuming the song he sings, I probably should have looked this up. I'm assuming that is Graffiti Bridge. That's the song, Graffiti Bridge, that he's singing.
I don't even remember. That says it all.
It's like, I feel bad because it feels like, we've not really researched this one, because we usually do. If this is someone's first ever episode of Batman, we usually do research this a lot more thoroughly. But this movie was so just like, like it was.
There's nothing to research. No one wrote anything about it.
No, they didn't.
There's just reviews. That's it.
Yeah.
It's so weird. You think Prince would have documented all this? He was quite notorious for going overboard. Maybe he did, and it's still locked away in his vault at Paisley Park.
Yeah, this could be all in the vault. This could be all people just waiting for that vault to be torn open. It's like, here comes all everything you ever wanted to know about Graffiti Bridge is coming flooding out now.
It's a bit like the Berlin Wall, isn't it? It's like, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this vault door.
I'd see David Hasselhoff showing up to play the opening of the vault and stuff. Talking about how important he was to Prince. All this kind of stuff.
Oh, I'm sure he thinks he was, yeah.
But yeah, then you get they make up, and then they do the thing I really, really hated, where it's like, thank God the movie's over now. I guess I can. It's going to credits. I guess I can turn it off. But no, they have action continuing throughout the credits. I was like, just let me go, for the love of God.
Please release me.
But you get to see the guy. But again, they repeated the plot point from Purple Rain of, he just has to sing a song at the end and then everything's okay. Whereas, like, with the Wendy and Lisa thing in Purple Rain, where they wanted him to play their track and he wouldn't do it, and then at the end he did. The guy who wanted to rap in the beginning of the movie finally gets the rap at the end of the movie. And I was like, good on you, sir. And there's a bit when Morris Day, I think he's annoyed about someone coming into his club or something, and it looks like he might be turning into a bit of an asshole again. But then he doesn't. And it's fine.
He does come out with the great line, somebody painted my skillet.
That's right. Isn't people have graffitied all over his club? Maybe that's what I'm trying to remember. This has been like a couple of days since I watched this, and I've been it's been vaguely clinging to the back of my memory because I'm so ready to put it in the trash bin of my mind. But it's like, no, I have to remember the end of this for the review. And now that we've pretty much, that's the end of the movie, pretty much. So now I can officially take all my memories of Graffiti Bridge that have been documented in this episode and just cast it out of my mind forever.
It doesn't even end in a way to be like, and then the movie ends. It was like, and then some people got what they wanted and nothing still makes sense.
Yeah. And it kind of also makes you feel like it's going to continue. Like there's going to be another one, maybe. It's going to keep going. This story isn't over.
Again, it could turn up from the vault. It's like, we made like 5 other movies about Morris and the Kid. They're all in the vault. We're going to get them all. They'll all come out eventually. You have to go, it'll be massive premieres for them. Morris Day will be fine.
Saga.
I wouldn't mind watching Morris Day do anything else, honestly.
Yes.
So, I can't recommend like Purple Rain. The first one is all right. Like, and it got a lot of Morris Day. Been a complete dick in it, but like he is funny. At least he's funny. So I have to say, between the two of them, obviously watch Purple Rain. Do not watch Under the Graffiti Bridge. So, but Crystal, we brought you all the way here to render your opinion of this movie. So, would you recommend Under the Graffiti Bridge? Not Under the Graffiti Bridge, Graffiti Bridge to anybody of any walk of life?
I was talking to one of my friends in between one of the times that I had to start and stop it. The movie.
One of the many times.
And one of the many times. And I was like, if I was watching this with a bunch of comedians, it would be the best. You know, like if we were all in a room watching it, like The Room.
Yes.
When you're just watching it and you're like, this makes no sense, but you're having fun with everyone and you're drinking and laughing. This movie would be great.
Yeah.
I did not do that. I was watching it by myself, seriously, to get ready for you guys. And it was torture.
It was deliberate. We wanted to make you suffer.
It's like, this Crystal Beth, she's been flying too high for too long. Let's just knock her down a peg or two.
She keeps having to talk about good movies. See what she does with a bad movie. And then the universe felt my pain.
To be fair, though, what you've said is basically what me and Niall do as a hobby. We just watch terrible movies together, getting drunk, like we, in fact, did last night. Watching, do you know the director Neil Breen?
No.
Oh, my God. He does some of the greatest films of all time. Double Down is a masterpiece.
It's one of those
Fateful
things like,
Findings is another one. And what was last night's, Niall? Pass Through?
Yeah, it's one of those ones like I'll send you a trailer to just one of his movies, and the trailer will say more than any description of what the guy actually does. So like once you just see it in action, you're like, oh, I get this. I get why this would be funny, because he is hilarious, and it's completely like he should be like Tommy Wiseau levels of famous for this.
Yes,
but he's not.
Right.
And he's made like at least 5 or 6 movies. And they're all the same. So it's like this guy, he's waiting for like a room level renaissance of his career, but he's just bubbling under at the minute. He's not quite got there yet. Someday, maybe when he dies, it'll be like his art will increase in value and people will finally appreciate him. But
well, Pass Through is certainly the only movie I've ever seen where our hero deliberately kills 300 million people.
Yeah, in the blink of an eye too. That's impressive stuff. But anyway,
with no remorse, and you're meant to cheer him on. But yes, it's a worse movie than this, but it's a more enjoyable movie than this.
That's just crazy to me. I don't understand the words you just said. Worse but more enjoyable doesn't seem like it should work at all.
But it does. It does. Yeah. It's it's a so bad it's good one because it's so serious. Like it's we only really appreciate bad movies that think that they're not. They think they're good. It's when they're deliberately bad. It's like, well, that's not as fun.
That's when your Sharknadoes come out, where it's like it's deliberately supposed to be stupid. And you're like, I'd rather someone genuinely had, like this is the greatest idea ever. I've made this movie, Sharknado, and it's oh my god, poured my heart and soul into it, and then it just turned out to be awful. That would be great. But the fact that they deliberately made that is like, oh, here's a really stupid idea that'll be funny. That's like, not as much.
It doesn't always work, though. This movie is evidence, because I think Prince really did. From his point of view, he probably gave this his all. He tried to direct it.
Yeah. To be fair, like a lot of the stuff is like, I wouldn't say he's technically everything is in focus, and the shots are set up okay. So on a base technical level, he could direct a movie. It's just everything to do with the actors and the story is what he has trouble with. If Prince just gave up and became a cameraman, maybe, or a cinematographer, maybe he would have been okay. But I say maybe he would have been okay. He was freaking Prince. Like he didn't need the career boost. But
one of the most blessed sort of talents going.
Yeah. But anywho, his there's other stuff which we're not going to cover. There is the Sign of the Times concert movie, but we're not going to cover that. So
no, I think we've tortured ourselves enough. I mean, I'm sure that's great. That would be it. Yeah. But I just need a break now. Come on, I need like a year off.
I know I have to apologize again to you, Crystal, because I know we have to run off now as well. But if you didn't like this movie, do you at least like Batman Returns?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. To make it up to you, would you be willing to come back at some point to talk about a few minutes of Batman Returns down the line?
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Oh,
Batman Returns is one of my favorite Batmans.
Oh, well, we've not got a lot of the minutes booked yet, so if you have got a favorite scene you want to talk about, just let us know. We'll make sure to slot you in for it.
Okay, I'm very, very excited.
Hey, it's my favorite.
Hopefully there won't be as much technical problems, and we can get you at a time where you're not on 4.5 hours of sleep having to...
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm, up and happy. I'm excited for you guys to get to Batman and Robin, which is my favorite one.
Oh, like it's exciting, that one. I think it's going to be fun because there's a lot to say.
Yeah, there's just so many. It's just the silliest of them all.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do feel like the Forever is the one we're going to have the most trouble getting people for, because it's like people love Returns and people want to talk about Batman and Robin, and then Forever is just sort of like the okay movie in between, where it's like, do you want to come talk about Batman Forever? And it'd be like, well, maybe,
Yeah, we can. I'll do one episode.
We'll see. People might jump at it. They might really want to just insult the film, and I don't care. If they want to insult it, do it. Come on.
Yeah. But have you got anything you want to pitch, Crystal? Because I know you had your own Movies by Minute podcast that has ended. So you've got an entire thing you can just give to people straight away.
Yeah, it's the Fifth Element, so that's on iTunes. And then I have a video game podcast called Unlimited Lives Radio, and that is also on iTunes.
And I think that's us for our sojourn. What was it? Sojourn. I don't even know if I'm using that word correctly.
Seizure. You've had a seizure. Okay.
That's just for our seizure of watching all the Prince movies.
Finally, it's over.
But this might be maybe the last time we get to in any official capacity talk about Prince. So, and I guess that's kind of sad. I just wish it was a better movie. We ended on.
I am sad about that because I do love Prince. He's a cool guy. I like his music.
He'll probably come up in we'll be talking about Face to Face, the Susie Sue song when that pops up in Returns. We'll probably
Susie's
have to mention
one of my favorites.
We'll probably have to mention Prince did the other one, so we can probably talk about him then again if we want to. But anyway.
But make sure, everybody, if you haven't already, you must have done by now, join us on Facebook. We have the Bat Minute Listeners Cave, recently rebranded. Moving into the next season, we've rebranded everything. And send us a tweet at BatMinute on Twitter. And as Niall mentioned before, we have a shop. So you can look us up on TeePublic. And we haven't got much on there yet. There's only about 3 designs at the moment, but we will create more.
That's great, though. I love that.
Yeah, it's our first attempt, and I think they're quite good. I ended up buying one myself because I was like, I want to walk around with my own face on my shirt. And nobody seems to have realized yet because I've shaved the beard off that is in the artwork.
You shaved the beard. I think I did that picture, and then you shaved the beard off like the same week. I was like, oh, for Christ's sake.
I'm keeping you on your toes, McGowan.
Yeah. I'm kind of scared to start the next one. It's like, what if I do him in any version of John? You're gonna show up and I wear like a monocle now. I always have this monocle, and you haven't rendered it accurately in the picture.
Well, I'm a wild card. Damn it, I do what I want. Join us again soon, listeners. We will be back for Bat Minute Returns. See you soon.